Hello.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So you are the Molly and More June maker.
I am indeed.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. I am Lily and I run Zebra Knits. And we make funky knitted things, mostly homewares, and these big magical knitted knot cushions, which are all the rage.
They are big and magical.
They are magical.
For sure. So what were your thoughts when we reached out to you and were like, would you like to do a collaboration?
I was well excited. Yeah, I'd been kind of like, it had been a while since I'd done a new collection anyway. Like the last one I did was Spring Summer 21, and then I've just been busy with everyone being obsessed with them for a year. Oh,
which is good.
How difficult. What a hard life. So I've been super busy with them and quite conscious that I did want to make something new. And then, just having it like tied in with you and your new launch. It's just, it's exciting.
It is very exciting.
Very exciting.
So we're actually filming this on the day that we launch, which is stressful. There's so many things going on. But how have you found, because you're 18 months into running your business?
How
have you found that?
Gosh, it's been up and down. Like there's definitely, like, I was kind of talking to you about this before when we were just having a bit of us time. But like kind of having coming to the realization that there was a sense where like my work did go quite viral to begin with, and that being the most obviously really exciting thing to happen, but also kind of unrealistic in the world of business. And I think the pandemic was a bit of an unrealistic reflection of small businesses, unfortunately, not in a horrible sense, but kind of like what people had financially. They had more money, they had more time, they were indoors a lot more, and they just wanted to be like comforted by new products. So kind of going back into the world of like, people are back out, people are going on holiday, going to festivals. Of course, like those festival brands, I'm absolutely buzzing for you. Like I'm sure your sales are brilliant right now. But like in terms of just balancing it and coming back into the real world, it's been a challenge. And like the last couple of months, especially with like the whole cost of living thing, has been spooky. But not to be like, get my violin out, but like so it's kind of working out how I can make my customers like, just start making things that fit to this lifestyle and the world that we're living in right now, rather than how I started, is the big change for me at the moment, I think.
Do you feel like you've had a bit of a backwards experience with running a business?
Kind of, like I wouldn't say it's like fully backwards, but it's kind of like a mirror into the future of like when your products go massive and viral and people want them all over the place, it's like, oh my god, this it's gonna last forever, this is amazing. And it kind of gives you an insight into what your business could be like in like 5-10 years in the future, which is what everyone hopes, but it's straight away. So then like coming out of a couple of redundancies to begin with, I was like, like I can do this full time and it's absolutely fine. And of course I'll never regret. I'm so like, I just go for things. Like I'm not gonna like sit around and wait and stuff. I won't regret doing what I've done, going full time. So it's not necessarily like a backward step. It's more of just like a reflection of how your business could be. So like when you go all over the place and you're viral and people want your stuff, it's amazing, but it's also like you have to try and remain realistic with it and think, okay, like how can I use this promotion to like better like the future of the business, rather than just live off the excitement and the buzz.
So how can you make like longevity out of that initial buzz and that high?
Exactly. And like having online is brilliant, and social media and being online is brilliant, but also it's so important to just make like organic connections with brands and people and customers. Like everyone is so obsessed with these numbers at the moment and how many followers I've gotten, how many likes, and it doesn't matter if you're not getting sales. You're not getting the sales. If you've got 100,000 followers, it doesn't matter. Like if you have made those connections with who you want to and your audience, then you're going to get repeat customers and you're going to get happy people, hopefully.
Well, we spoke a lot about sort of followers and the and how like almost the more followers you get, the like less engagement.
Oh my gosh, it does feel like that sometimes.
People sort of come over, follow quickly, and then sort of forget that they're like, oh yeah, I liked that, I'll follow them, but then they go away and then don't come back. So like I feel like 5 years ago Instagram, big numbers were like unheard of, but now it's so much about the engagement rate that it's like irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Because people with like 200 followers can get more sales than someone with 200,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it just depends how you use your time, and obviously everyone, no one can afford like a massive social media team. I would love one, but like, you know, for me to sit and create content that's worth, you know, for a week's worth of content on Instagram, TikTok, like even just marketing and email campaigns, takes a long time. And so you've got to kind of work that out as well. Is this actually worth my time? Could I be making product, or could I be making connections or whatever to make the brand actually take a step forward? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you're right, like it just does not matter if you've got a huge follow count.
And it feels like, where should you be putting your energy? Because like TikTok's a big craze at the moment. I mean, could it be a Vine? I don't feel like it will be a Vine.
Oh my gosh, a Vine.
Like, just suddenly like die out of nowhere, or will it keep skyrocketing? So I feel like Instagram took over Vine, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
And now it's like, is TikTok gonna take over Instagram?
I definitely think it is.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and I feel like it's true, because there was that element of Instagram years ago that like you could just naturally grow, whereas now I feel like you have to put so much effort into it and have so much knowledge about how to grow on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's like almost impossible. But with TikTok, like everyone says, you can just take one video.
It can be easy, and you can just blow up. Like I've had like a really silly video that just was me discussing, like I think it was an answer to a question, you know, you can put like a little white box, and someone had asked like if I could use my fabric and like cut it into patterns for garments, and I was just explaining how that doesn't work with knitting because it like damages the quality of the knitting, and this video just blew up out of nowhere, and I was like, what the hell? And I think I got like 3,000 followers in 2 days, and I was like, just for little old me, just sat there. And typically you'd try like to get really nice videos and do really gorgeous content, and as soon as you do something that's just daft,
as soon as you try putting too much effort into it, it's always
doesn't like
flop.
it.
It's ridiculous. Like,
honestly,
it's how do you win? Like, but there's so many people that you just think, how are you just always getting so many? What is your secret? And then people say, like I was saying to you earlier, like people always say you need like to add value. That's how you know grow, and people interact when you're adding value. But it's like, if I'm sharing all my value on Instagram, I'm gonna have no value to put into the business.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're gonna be so drained from trying to share everything always that it's actually distracting. Like I feel like as soon as you start trying to film something you're doing, or you know, doing behind the scenes, it immediately becomes like unnatural.
Exactly.
So it's hard to sort of be present with your business as well as present online.
Absolutely. And it's almost like quality over quantity. Like all of a sudden I've been conscious of like posting. The more I post, the better engagement I get. Obviously that's natural. But then it's like, gosh, you're just popping anything on there. Could be anything, and you're thinking like a couple of days later, that doesn't look very nice, or that doesn't look very refined. And I think like I've seen a couple of people that are quite big on TikTok, and I've noticed them kind of say like Instagram is like a portfolio and TikTok's like a close friend story. Like that's how I view it in my head now. I'm trying to be like, okay, people want realism and they want you to be realistic, so that must be why TikTok is doing so well, and not just for like brands and creatives, but like just everyone, like every single person that goes on here. Like there's random people from like, what's that guy, Hank from Breaking Bad? Do you follow him on TikTok? He's so funny on TikTok. It's like these random people from Breaking Bad.
That's such a good way to think about it, actually, that TikTok's like your close friend story.
It is.
I feel like if you're just real and candid and just like whatever you'd send to like your friend in the group chat, just post that, and then people will be like, I love it.
Exactly.
Have we just cracked the code?
Have we just probably not, because there's so many more codes inside it. And like that's the thing with Instagram, like Instagram wants your money at the moment as well. That's the worst thing. Like I think they see you promoting anything that could get you your own money, like you're trying to send them to your website, whatever. No, they don't like that. So that's another thing to watch.
We'll have a bit of that.
They're like vultures. It's so spooky. But it's not the end of the world. Like these things come and go, and like we just need to kind of push through as a business and have like real world like things going on that we can get on with, like markets and stuff as well. They're always fun.
Yeah, markets are so fun.
Markets are the best.
And you like chat to everyone.
Yeah,
and, like, everyone's so nice and just there for a good time. It's amazing,
and it's really refreshing to like see like new reactions to stuff and new faces, because if you're just sitting in this virtual world, you never actually see what someone's face is like when they see your product, like, and they look at you like, and some people have looked at me and gone, what is that? And I'm like, oh, okay. And I've decided for my next market I'm going to print out photographs of my cushions at home so people don't keep asking me what they are. So I'll be like, what is that? Because I had that a few times. And it's nice to just have reactions, whether they're nice or not. Maybe no, they're never not nice, but they can sometimes be a bit
brutal.
That's a good word. Like, oh, that's a bit expensive, isn't it? I'm like, okay, well, I would just like to pay my rent.
Literally.
Just trying.
That's like something that I've come up against since starting, that like, because I'm one of those people, like, because my brain works creatively, I know when I look at something how much effort goes into it. So I'm like, I don't mind paying how much, because I know the work that's gone into it. But someone that doesn't, who would like usually, just pick whatever they thought was nice, which is still valid, but they'd go, oh, that's expensive. And it's like, well, no, it's not, when you think about all the effort that's gone into it, all the time, like all the thought. Whereas like something that's mass produced, like they think about it once and then they just make it 100 times over.
And sometimes they don't even think about it because they just copy it.
They
just go, that's yours, well, we'll have that now.
Like
honestly,
that.
I live in fear of being on AliExpress. They don't even change your photos, do they just use people's actual photos. I've got a few friends that have had straight up blatant rip-offs of their faces just on AliExpress, and I'm like, the cheek. And then it's for like £2. It's like, how can something so gorgeous be £2? I just anyway, honestly,
it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's so mean. But like, most people are nice.
They are. Most people are nice.
Most people are nice. They're not after you, like, big time.
What I want to know is how you, well, I know, but the people don't. Maybe don't. How did you sort of get going with Zebra Knits? How did you name it?
Oh gosh.
What's your story? Tell us your story.
I was telling you before, I used to work at a beanbag factory. Which everyone has this brilliant reaction to. They're like, huh? Is that a thing?
I thought what you meant was like stuff in the beanbags, but you were designing the beanbags.
I was making beanbags. Like, I was fully on the computers, like designing beanbags for like this company, God bless them. And then they had a bit of money trouble and whatever, and it was just after the first lockdown, so it was like the one before that summer. And they were having a bit of financial issues, but they said, oh yeah, we'll make you redundant and and I was like, okay, thanks for your time, I'm out of here. And then I kind of, in the background, it was actually the original design and the shape of it came from a dog bed, which is even weirder. So we were making, like, we had a dog bed project we were doing, because they also did dog beds, and I was like, had this big long stuffed sausage of some degree, and like, it was just a really rubbish, like, made one, like, for an example, like a design, and I like just had it knot, and I was like, oh, that'd be quite cute if I knitted it, and then I like went home, and like that weekend I just knitted one, because I had my knitting machine just chilling at home, and then, oh, can I have one, and I want one, and then, oh, my boyfriend wants one, and this one wants one, and like, oh, can I have it in this colour, and I was like, oh, okay. And then before I knew it, and then I made a patterned one, and then the pattern one went crazy, and then I was like, I can do like a little collection of these, and then it kind of grew from there. And then I think, I was telling you before, the Zebra Knits thing, it just came out of nowhere.
You like zebra pattern?
I just like zebra pattern. I have a zebra beanbag.
It all comes back to the beanbags.
It's full circle. But I was like, I like zebras, and I'm knitting, so I'm zebra knits now.
It makes complete sense.
It's just, you know what, for me, in the world I'm in, it's not the weirdest thing you've heard.
No, I'm sure it's not.
Now I've got a tattoo of it on my leg, just stuck there
with
forever.
With the groovy cowboy boots.
With little cowboy boots on. I just thought, I'll go get a tattoo of Zebra Knits, and whether it lasts me the rest of my life or it was a couple of fun years, this will be a fun memory of my time with Zebra Knits. I'm hoping it'll be forever.
Yeah, do you see it as a forever thing?
I'm sat genuinely at my studio, like, my friends at the studio will understand what I'm talking about here, and I will stop knitting and I'm going, is this going to pay my retirement? I'm looking at these cushions, I'm thinking, girl, are these going to pay for your retirement? Because I don't want no normal retirement. I want lavish luxury. Life been hard.
Be in like a caftan tan in the sun.
Absolutely.
Always.
Greece or Lesbos,
Yeah,
that's my go-to. And I look at them and think, wow, like I don't actually know. But then also take the pressure off, Lil, because just because your other friends or other people you know are in these career jobs, there's a small business pulse going on right now. Like everyone's so excited and inspired by it. And this could be, I'm hoping the small business thing is like the YouTuber thing. You know, when everyone started being YouTubers and everyone was like, what are you talking about?
You've got a YouTube
You're a
channel.
YouTube channel, like, okay. And here those YouTubers are raking in the money.
Literally, living in mansions.
Yeah, you never know. I feel like small businesses are just, they're like dark horses.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that, we're all good.
But when does it stop being a small business? I feel like that's a conversation I have a lot, especially when I'm trying to explain to like my mum and dad, when I'm like, I want to support these small businesses, and they're like, well, if they grow so much, when do they stop being a small business?
That's a good question.
Isn't
That is
it?
a good question. I think a small business stops being a small business when you physically can't handle it on your own anymore.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, but then also I do have an intern, and so maybe I can't handle it on my own anymore.
Maybe you're a big business.
Maybe I'm a big business. Oh
Maybe
my
you've
gosh.
got big business energy.
Oh my god. I really hope not. No, I just think it becomes a big business when it's silly.
I feel like when everything stops being sort of like, when it all comes automated, I feel like that's when it's like Amazon, where things just come down a chute, straight in a box, and like the machine chucks out the right amount of tape and everything like that.
I think it's a bit gross.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd want to be a big business either.
No, see, it's so hard to like have like big vision, but then also like still care about like the small parts, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you want to grow, but then you also want to make sure that you've got your finger in all the pies, if you know what I mean, and make sure you're still like, you know, you're still knitting and like,
I wouldn't want to not do that. And like I've thought about manufacturing at the beginning of the year, and then I was like, I don't want to do that. Like that's what I do. That's my baby. And like, but then I suppose if you do you've got to grow, haven't you? I think the one thing, if you are more of a control freak, like and like I am, definitely, it's hard to give that trust to someone else and then allow growth, because no one can grow on their own. Like they really can't. So like to have limited help and limited resources, it probably will keep you at a smaller scale for longer. Whereas if you can start to think big and think, oh, who can I get on board and who can help me? Then you can take on more. And that can mean more per month, and that can mean more growth and more. Obviously, it comes down to finances as well. So
do you see like a room full of people knitting on little domestic sewing machines, all employed by Zebra Knits?
I think that would be really cute, and I think I would prefer that than looking for a factory that's already existing, because as much as, you know, like there's ethical manufacturers everywhere, like I've looked into it a lot, but in terms of just like supporting the industry, I think rather than giving my energy into somewhere else, I'd love to make a little mini factory. You know, I'd eventually, but then also you just don't know what's around the corner, do you? Like you
don't at all. See, like for my business, I was telling you earlier, like when I went into a studio, I was like, this is like how I picture like the start of my, like, because obviously we're all online at the minute, but like how I picture the next step, if you know what I mean, like having a space, and like I want it to be like not come offline, but like be a community in person as well as online.
That's nice.
And then I just think property's so expensive. And I'm like, oh maybe I shouldn't.
It must be quite difficult for you, really, because it's not like you're selling a physical product, you're just the body that is selling all of these products. So unless you open a little room that has all of those brands in it that are probably from all around the UK, it's going to be like kind of difficult to get that ball rolling. But you could even think about it like in more of a like a warehouse vibe, where you stock the stuff and then it's sent out kind of vibe, and that's your little office.
See, like I always thought, like, imagine having like a Molly and More market where like everyone that's been stocked. Well, I mean, even people hadn't, but like
you can do that.
Yeah,
I think
we could do it.
I think you could definitely do that.
It could be really cool, because like I feel like we have like a very specific type of person in the shop.
Absolutely.
I don't like. There's a lot of, like, obviously with all due respect, there's a lot of like Etsy markets. That's how I would picture it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of cute things, but I think I like to think that we do sort of unique, sort of quirky things.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I think sometimes, like, especially when I go to a market and you've got like a room full of like Etsy sellers, it's a little bit like, oh.
And like those soaps. You know, those little soaps in the loaves, like loaves of soap, where they chop them into little slices. Yeah, like, cute. I love a soap, but also I get you. Like, I don't know how, but I get you. Like, it's like a Christmas market vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you want to have something that's a little bit more refined and it's for a more specific customer. But those things are coming up a lot more, and those customers are coming up a lot more. And I think, like, talking to my friends and stuff, like, whenever I've been involved in like markets and pop-ups and things like what we're doing, the collaboration, every time I've shown them the account or like your account or whatever, they're always like, oh yeah, that's very Zebra Knits. And I think Zebra Knits is just the kind of overruling term for just that kind of person, like a very like pastel, minimal like shape kind of. I can't describe it, but
like,
I get
there's a lot going on, but also there's like, it's all very like
fresh
and like forward thinking. Like, I feel like what's the word? I feel like forward thinking is what I mean, but like in a sort of like in like a conceptual way. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like an artistic flair to it.
It's kind of like affordable art, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're thinking of it like, you know, you go to a gallery and you can't buy so-and-so big painting or whatever, like big abstract
even
piece.
Even if you don't really want it anyway.
You
can't afford it.
Like, I love it, but no, I can't. So you go and get this print that's inspired by this and that, and it's an artist. And it's also going back to that thing again of personalisation, like having a personal approach. Like, I know the faces of a lot of small businesses that I love. I know what they look like. I know their names. And I think that's so important with buyers. I think buyers are sick of, well, it's apparent with everything that's closing down at the moment. They're sick of just these big shops that would just, they're faceless. So
100%. You also want anyone that you're buying from to be able to be held accountable for like anything. Like, I feel like it's easier when you know what the person looks like, or you know that there's only a couple of people behind something. To trust it.
Exactly.
I think that's more what I mean. Like, it's the trust thing, isn't it? I feel like. How did you burst into song? How did you get into knitting? Like, why did you fall in love with it?
Oh dear. It was at uni, really, and uni feels like, well, it was years away now. It was like 5 years away.
What, since you started or since you finished?
I graduated in 2019, and I started in 2016. So it was 5 years. That's 6 years ago.
That's 6 years ago, yeah.
No. How awful. Yeah, so 6 long years ago, Lily Parker sat on a knitting machine and I just started knitting. It was one of like the things on rotation. I loved it, and I was doing a lot of print before that, like screen printing and lino printing and stuff. And then all of a sudden I just loved it. And I don't know, I stuck with it, and then I graduated like in a specialism of knitwear and knitting. I was on these massive like industrial duvet machines, they're called, and they are just ridiculous, like the stuff that they can do and the price of them. And I was just in love with it. And then it did take just the graduation vibe, and like, luckily I just missed COVID as well. I graduated just the year before, so thank God there was no chaos. But so graduating just in general is really difficult, on like, especially from a creative course, because it's like your whole life. Like, if you are a proper creative to your bones, like you will be really gutted when you leave uni, because you're suddenly taken away from it and you're like, I've got to do a normal job. And I mean, my parents are gorgeous, like they would never put pressure on me, but like a lot of people's parents are like, oh well, it's off to the real world, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. So like that kind of took a toll. And then, as I say, I got those random jobs in the beanbag factory. And then I kind of just, I mean, that did take a couple of years. Like, I was working in just retail for a while and wasn't inspired to make anything, which is the worst thing to feel. And then I just luckily got inspired again, and now I do it every day.
That's
and my
pretty
arm muscles
amazing.
are crazy.
You just hench.
I am so hench, like carrying stuff around, it's silly.
Do you ever get creative block?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
All the time,
Yeah, all the time. I think with it as well, like, my brand, I can quite easily hide when I have creative block because I can just sit and do orders.
Yeah.
So in terms of like actual new designing stuff, once it's done, it can last me quite a while. So like hopefully, you know, our launch is good and I can be sitting and knitting all summer, and I just can kind of, it's mostly, I'd say every like 2 to 3 months I need to be a bit creative, and then I can just kind of go into
bring
it
out
like
a new collection kind of thing.
Like a 9 to 5 attitude.
Yeah. So like you said, just if you're like a creative to your bones, you'll love uni, and I don't like uni, but I feel like I'm starting to realise that I'm like, as much as I love creating and like creativity, I'm maybe better at spotting it.
Yeah, no, that's completely, like.
And I think that's, I feel like uni should be a time where people figure out what they're good at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying in terms of like, some creatives aren't makers.
Yeah, 100%.
Makers, that's fine. You don't have to make things. Like, I've got like completely wild people in my life. Like, my boyfriend like makes music. Like, he can't sit and knit. But he's still creative. Like, so it just because I said like, you know, you'll love uni. Like, you don't necessarily.
Yeah, no. Like, I just wanted to like talk about it because I feel like some people that you know, go to uni and like, why don't I love it? Yeah. I feel like, though, if you're asking those questions, it doesn't mean that you don't love it. It's just maybe that you need to think about it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, in terms of for creatives like myself, so creatives who are makers. Yeah. I adored uni because of all of the experience of like
just getting to make
and the freedom of it and the machinery and equipment. But yeah, if you're struggling with that and you're on a course that is more creative than creative thinking, you know, making over creative thinking, then maybe it is time to just have a little think about where you fit in with that.
What's your opinion on gap years?
Oh, okay. Gap years in the sense of like work placement, or gap years as in like just chilling?
Gap years as in like just figuring it out.
I don't necessarily think I had a gap year, but I did a foundation art degree, art and design thing between college and uni. So that was between 17 and, was it 18 and 19? 17, 18?
Because you finished college at 18.
Yeah, so 18 and 19. So I came to uni as a 19-year-old and was just a little bit more wise to what I needed and what I wanted out of the course, whereas like I did notice a couple people who struggled in the first few years who'd just come straight from college, because college is quite spoon-fed. So I think regardless of the course, I think having a bit of a gap could be good for anyone really, but you know, then it depends. If you have a gap and you get a job and you like your job and you want to just be paid for the rest of your life and you're happy with that, just go for it. You also don't need to go to uni. Like, there's if you're going to be in debt, it's
make sure it's worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I went to uni, I learned how to knit, and I have a knitting brand.
Yeah, so God. It was worthwhile. It was kind of worth it. Whereas, you know, you say, here's so and so went to uni and did geography, and now they're working in Tesco.
Yeah.
No offense to anyone that works at Tesco or doing the paper round.
Tesco's
I love Tesco too.
Not since the club card thing though.
What happened with the club card?
I call it cult card. It's the cult card.
The cult
card. So they'll be like, here, look, you can only have this offer if you've got a cult card. Yeah. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
When did we make this a decision? Yeah. Who decided this? So if you decided that and you work in Tesco and you decided on the cult card, you are officially like my least favourite person.
You are on my kill list.
You're in my burn book.
What has been your highlight of your Zebra Knits career so far?
Golly. I think I've had a few. I feel like, I don't know, I'm having like a little, like, you know, life flashes before your eyes moment in my head, like I'm running through everything. There's been like cool little bits, like that Refinery 29 article was really cool. That was pretty wild.
Did you know that was happening before it did?
No, I think
You
they
just
just
sort of-
bam.
yeah,
Yeah, things with articles and stuff like that, they just happen. So like I had an email from like this, I was in Stylist magazine as well like last year, and some woman just emailed me like, hey, I'm from Stylist, can I have a photo of your cushion? And I was like, what? And then me just being me, I was like, oh, here you go, and I just didn't think about it. And then my mum was like, Lily, I've just been to the shops and oh my gosh, your cushion is in this. And I was like, what? God. And my mum was like apparently flicking through this magazine and saw I found my cushion and I didn't even know. And she took like 20 copies out of the stand because she's crazy, and gave one to everyone for Christmas.
If that's not a supportive mum, I don't know what is.
Yeah, she's the best, bless her. She just says, as long as you're happy, like I don't care, as long as you're happy. She's a good example of a mum, definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Have you had any like part-time jobs whilst you've been running Zebra Knits, or
no, I've just been going full pedal to the metal, and it started off like I kind of started off the podcast like violins out, but yeah, it started off a bit like crazy with that whole viral stuff, and then it simmered down now into what I would describe as a more normal job.
Yeah, and more like
normal and manageable.
What
job.
I think's funny is like being self-employed. People like think, oh, you can pick your own hours and all that stuff, but realistically, you do just end up working a 9 to 5, but for yourself.
Yeah, no,
because you still want your weekends. And
in terms of my weekends, I'm all right, but other than that, it's 24/7.
Yeah,
I infuriated myself one time and decided to work out if I actually got paid the amount of hours that I sit and think about this stuff, how much I'd be on, and I'd already be in my Grecian retirement home, so in my kaftan. So I'm honestly like, why have I done this to myself? But it's there is an attitude for self-employed of like, oh, can you just do this for me?
And it's like, no, I'm working.
Please. And like it's fine, like that kind of stuff happens, and it's nice to be flexible in the sense where you can just drop anything and everything for whatever needs to happen. So it's a blessing and a curse, but it is like, I call it a blessing and a curse all the time. Yeah, because it's tormenting as well. You'll be trying to sleep and they're like, I'm your self-employed demon. Here I am.
Don't the best ideas come to you like when you're just trying to fall asleep?
Oh, all the time.
And you're like, what?
I have a little notebook next to my bed.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've heard that before, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just any ideas that come to you, write it down.
Yeah.
But my trouble is, like my boyfriend says every single time, as soon as I get into bed, it's like ping. And then I just start rabbiting, and he's like, when he's in bed, he's like, I'm going to sleep now. And I'm just like, and he's like, I'm like, do you think that's gonna do? And he's like, just go to sleep.
Just shut up.
My brain just doesn't stop. Like it can't just like switch off.
No, mine will be in the morning. I'm a very like morning-y person.
Yeah.
I'll definitely fall asleep at like 8 o'clock. I'm like a grandma. But morning is Can I have a bath? Cup of coffee. Cup of coffee? No.
You don't have coffee.
You don't have coffee. Little cup of cocoa is what I was going for. In the past, for my last collection, that was last summer. Wow, like time flies when you're knitting. But yeah, I just opened up a competition and asked people to decide the names of different ones, and then the winners won their cushion that they named. So one of them was called the Vanellope, which is one of the designs that looks like a glitch, and it was after the girl in Wreck-It Ralph, because she glitches. So someone was like, oh, I'll do Vanellope, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And then me being vain, someone described the other one as Lily, and I was like, that's my name. I'm gonna pick Lily. So I have a cushion named after myself, of course.
Why is the Dizzy one your favourite?
Dizzy one's my favourite because it's weird. And it's exactly like me, and it stands out from the crowd, and she's not afraid to be herself. She's a diva.
That is so true.
She is a diva queen.
Yeah, I love that. Grid is my favourite. Not sure why, but it just draws me in. But I really like it with the Dizzy one.
I think it's a good kind of, no offense to your favourite, but some of them are like standouts and some of them are more background ones, and I try
right. I know where that's going.
And I know I don't mean it like that, but like I try to make a collection that's like cohesive with someone who's a little bit more subtle and reserved, and someone who's a little bit more wild.
Well, that's why we went for the black and white
and
as
then
well.
we've got a
didn't
black
we?
and white as well, yeah.
So
So we're kind of appealing everybody, so
Yeah.
we can have a couple of different customers in there too.
when I opened the samples, that was my like the Dizzy one was like whoa,
Wow,
that's my favourite
it's
one.
pretty wild, isn't
But
it?
I don't know why. I think I like those two as a pair.
They are, yeah. We could choose two. It's
Yeah.
like we've got children and we can't choose between
Yeah,
them, and
exactly. You
that's
can't
fine.
choose a favourite.
No.
I do feel like the blue, the purple and green wonky check has just gotten forgotten though. Gotten forgotten.
Forgotten.
Got forgotten.
Oh well, bless him. He can try his best. There's always
like the
one.
cousin that no one really likes. But we put up with them.
We go with it. We go with it. How funny.
Okay, so this is my last question for you.
Okay.
For any small business or anyone wanting to start a creative small business, whether they are the maker or just a creative thinker, what is your piece of advice?
I think first of all, work out which one of them you are.
Yeah, that would be my advice too.
Yeah, because don't try and do one too much of the other. If you just feel like a maker, then crack on with making. And if you feel like a creative thinker, then find some makers. Like, you know, you
creatively.
can think creatively, girl.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, go for it. But in general, try and get going with it. I would just say do it and try it. Why not? Like, if it's an idea and it's new and unique, or if it's just like itching you to get out, just do it. Just have fun with it. But be calm in like the approach. Like, don't go, oh my god, I've got to do this and this, like my business has to be like this within the next 6 months. Like, just calmly just take one day as it comes. Like, you can't take on too much. You are one person unless you're a group of people. Then good for you.
I think especially if you're a maker, then your talents lie in making. And I think the more you make and share, and like unconsciously share, if you know what I mean, so don't put too much thought into it, the better it's going to grow, because it's going to feel more authentic and more
organic.
More organic.
And also just don't worry about Instagram. No one is having a nice time there at the
Literally no one's having a good time.
Having a nice time. But yeah, in general, like, that is just be yourself as well. Like, don't try and be like anyone else's brand. Yeah, be who you are. Hi, I'm Lily from Zebra Knits, and I am the Molly and More June maker. Our collaboration of Knitted Knot Cushions goes live on the 10th of June, so stay tuned, and that was perfect.